Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Zero Blind Spots End-to-End Network Observability from the User to the Cloud. My name is Maizi Den from MBCom Marketing Team, and I'm delighted to be your host. Please, before we begin, make sure your microphones are muted during the session, and you can use the chat box at any time to share your questions. We will dedicate some time for the Q&A at the end, and this session is recorded, and we will share the record with you later. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Nageesh Jaswal, Partner Leader of the Agile Operation Division AOD at Broadcom. Nageesh brings strong expertise in driving full visibility and moving teams from reactive to proactive operation. He will walk us through today's topic. Over to you, Nageesh.
Thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for MBCom to providing this opportunity. So as mentioned, I'm going to go through this topic about how you gain end-to-end visibility with network observability tool provided by Broadcom. And what I have today is bunch of slides, which I'm going to anchor as a part of my discussion. And then I do also have a demo, which I want to show you, right? It's not an exact demo, like a production kind of thing, but just to give you an idea that how this technology works, right? So by end of this session, I'm hopeful that you will be able to, confidently talk to your customers about this specific capability, and then how to demo it to your customers, with this requirement, right? So with that, let me get started with some of the basic things which we see across our customers, as well. The first thing first is, the skill of network management, network monitoring is niche, right? And it's very difficult to get that kind of skill set. So one thing is, you see, organizations struggling to get a correct talent to manage their networks. And most of them do agree that managing network and monitoring network is not that simple as it used to be 10 years back or 20 years back. And this is mainly due to adoption of cloud and SaaS, and with all the workers and employees going remote, working from anywhere and things like that. So that's where it adds to challenges. And if you ask anyone today, the number one priorities is getting into visibility into the multi-cloud monitoring, data center, and cloud networks. So, and that's where a new approach is required, right? The traditional network monitoring tools will not work over here. It needs more of a proactive approach. It's need a different technology to handle that, and basically eliminate those visibility gaps, get more actionable intelligence, and of course get boost your network performance with connected experience. And of course uh, leveraging AI here is also on the table. So that's what network observability from Broadcom brings in. So right from where your users are starting to the end destination, where your the end application would be residing. So it could be either an application which is sitting in a data center network. It could be application which is SaaS. It could be a user who is accessing from your one of the remote offices, or it could be they are working from home or working from anywhere, things like that. So NetOps actually brings you visibility into each part of the network, right, starting from the Wi-Fi network through which users is accessing this application, which all hops it takes to traverse to reach that end application, and which is the congestion point in between, right? It could be very much problem with data center network. It could be very much a problem with the SaaS network, from to which the end application is residing, or it could be the ISP network, or it could be very much the Wi-Fi network as well, right? Nowadays, we see these examples as well. Um, so when we do this demo, I want you to keep this picture in mind, and I'll show you how exactly that works and how, the NOC teams are going to use this technology to gain visibility and, troubleshoot issues. So, what Broadcom NetOps do is, of course, they get actionable insight, by getting everything together, right? With fault, performance, flow, and, the user experience information. We have been known to be multi-vendor, multi-technology, and we continue with that stance. So no matter, how much you enhance or how much customer enhance this network, adopting newer technologies, our technology is still relevant for monitoring their network. So that's something we should keep in mind. And then lastly, we are the first ones in the market to talk about this, right? What we are saying is, top alarms, top utilization, how many red, yellow, or, these kind of alarms you have doesn't matter. The end metric, which tells you whether your network is healthy or not healthy, is the user experience part. And that's where, we talk about experience, user experience, application experience in NetOps. So that is a single metric, which talks about whether your network is healthy or not, right? So out of which, today we are going to talk about enhanced connected experience, which will tell you about how NetOps or network observability solves this problem, right? And the technology behind this capability is AppNeta, right? This is the core heart and engine behind this. This is an acquisition which we made a couple of years back. It works on a technology called active testing, which means it's continuously sniffing your network from source to destination to identify the hops, and then identify the congestion point, and even, talk about how your even application is performing. So now when we took this technology, we integrated with our larger NetOps portfolio. The use cases which we solve for our customers is they gain visibility into third-party networks like cloud networks and ISP networks, from me being more reactive, which is, SNMP based, to being more proactive, where we are doing active testing and, continuously testing the network. That's something which these tools bring in. And with that, you customers can continuously uh, check the performance of the network, especially the SD-WAN. And if you go into our specific SD-WAN capability, you will see that word end-to-end SD-WAN performance validation. And this is what is, we bring on the edge, because any other tool which is being provided by vendor for SD-WAN monitoring, it does edge to edge, but we do end to end, and that's the differentiator which we have because of AppNeta. And then, of course, getting visibility into your ISP network, how they're performing, and holding them accountable in case, you have any disruptions in the network. And my entire demo is going to be anchored towards AppNeta, although I'll show you the integration as well, but that's where, I'll be focused more. Again, the advantages is you can exactly pinpoint, where the issue is, and, improve your end user experience, bring down, the amount of time it requires to triage, and in that way you enhance your productivity, and then reducing the number of tickets and, ultimately meeting the SLAs, right? So, what we do, I mean, three basic use cases which we target with this technology. First one is, what we talk about is, you are continuously testing your network, right? You're no longer reactive, where, the old age tools would tell you, oh, this router is down, the interface is overutilized or something like that, and you come into action and then try to solve the problem. Whereas what these tools do is, it's continuously testing your entire sites using the active testing technology, and continuously sending packets to the destination from source, and identifying if there are any congestions in the network, right? And you can then be more proactive rather than reacting once upon after either user complaining or some other issues we are having in the network. So that's one of the use case which we very proudly talk about, that getting more proactive and testing your network performance continuously rather than being more reactive based on issues and all those things. So that's the first thing. Second is and this is a very common problem, especially the people here who have been working with the networking guys, you know, um, uh, since long. The one problem which we see is the moment any issue arrives, saying that, look, the users are not able to access application, the blame actually comes to the networking team. And out of your experiences and my experience, you can confidently tell that apps team usually do this trick to buy time. They just push this on the network team, and then they buy time to see if there are issues in their application. So networks, the NOC teams get overwhelmed because of this, and it's very difficult for them. And that's where what we have done using this technology and this capability is introduce the concept of doing synthetic testing on the application as well. Now keep this in mind that this is not an application performance tool. What this tool actually does is it will continuously test your application as well. It will tell you whether it's an application issue or not, right? The first thing, because you are continuously testing the application with synthetic monitoring. Second, what it does is traces the path, right? It will tell you how user is actually getting to this application and what all networks it is touching, whether it's a data center network, your ISPs, and all those things. So with that, the network teams now have visibility. Is it an application issue or not? If it's an application issue, they can confidently go back to the application team and say, look, hey, this is something which is your issue because the response time is too high, and either it's not accessible and things like that. And if it's a network issue, now they know what path is the user traversing, and where actually I have to focus my energy, right? Because half of the time your users are sitting somewhere else, and it's difficult to it takes a lot of time to identify what parts of network they are touching before you even troubleshoot the network. So I'll show you how exactly that this tool will solve, and again solving the problem of pinpointing on application team versus NOC team. The third is end user monitoring, and again you see this very often. You have your executives. Every organization has there some important people, either working remotely or working from they travel a lot, so they are in conferences, they are on airports, they are anywhere else and things like that. And nowadays a lot of after COVID especially, a lot of people have moved to remote working, and even you have small offices like in India. We have satellite offices where people have moved to those small offices and work from there because it's comfortable and near to their hometown and things like that. um, so you will often see use cases, I have this issue half of the time where my executives are complaining that they are not able to access any application and things like that. And there are users who are working from somewhere, and it takes a lot of time for me to identify the issues. And that's where this technology is again very helpful, which will go into the details till Wi-Fi, right? How the Wi-Fi network is, from where the user is accessing. And there are examples in my experience where people are interested that this guy says that he's working remotely from home, but he's not actually at home, he's somewhere else. And how to identify that? And it tells you location, it tells your Wi-Fi quality and things like that. So this is a big boost for NetOps team as well, where at times it's not a network issue, it's not an application issue, it's something to do with the user. And how do we solve that? I'll tell you. How does it gives visibility into some certain other metrics, which are nowadays getting more and more important. So with that, enough of the slides. I'll get back to my demo. And again, as I said, when I do a demo, keep this picture in mind. I could. I'll be showing you this demo from my own test environment, and let me actually jump on that. So what I have here is I have a AppNeta environment, and I have two monitoring points. If you see this one, this is actually my current laptop from which I'm working in. It's in my office laptop. So I have all the information about this monitoring point. And then I have one, my personal laptop through which I have logged in, So, and what I have done is I have targeted a couple of things. One is I have targeted one of the global monitoring point, which is sitting in Azure data center in Pune, India, right? So I have these two monitoring points, one from my private laptop, one from my office laptop, pointing to this, data center in Pune. And then I have also mapped some applications which I use day in, day out. For example, I'm using WebEx right now. So I'm giving some examples. Now, I want you to turn to this slide again, because when I am telling you, and then again, this is something which I encourage you to do a demo as well, because at times we get into this jargons about SD-WAN and other things, and the idea here is to show the demo in a very simplistic way. So assume me sitting in either of I'm sitting in one of the office. I may be sitting in one of the branch office. I may be sitting at home, and I may be doing one of the things. I could be accessing an application which is in your data center somewhere else, and assume this is a Pune data center, or it could be an application which is sitting in SaaS. It could be Microsoft Teams, it could be WebEx or something else, right? And then I am complaining about issues where I am not able to access application. And how would then network teams go and check what exactly is happening? So we will cover three examples, the way I have showed you in my slides. One is, we will see an example that how you see if your application sits in a data center, if your application sits in SaaS application, and if actually it's problem with the user itself and not with apps and networks, right? So in this case, AppNeta works on a technology called monitoring points. Those monitoring points are nothing but agents sitting on source and destination. That is how they talk to each other, and they exchanges those messages. And based on that, they identify the paths in between, they identify the congestion in between. So here I have a monitoring point sitting on my laptops, and then I have a monitoring point sitting on my Pune Azure data center. And whenever you have monitoring points at both the ends, what we do is we do a dual end monitoring. That means I have a visibility that how the network performance from source to destination. I also have visibility performance of destination to source. And whenever there is no monitoring point sitting at the destination, usually we call that as a single end monitoring of network. And in this case, I cannot deploy agents on SaaS, and that's where it's a single ended. You see a single arrow over there, right? So let's start with the first example where Nagesh is complaining. And you can see right now I am connected to a VPN network. So my laptop is actually showing you that, I am connected to a VPN. So you can see that how this technology actually works. It goes and identifies this. And then, in this example, first example, let's see, how I'm complaining about an application access, which is sitting in one of the organization data center. The another beauty of this dashboard is you can actually see all the routes. So, here you can see that, my PC. and then I have my laptop. If you see here, I'm hovering over. So this is my Wi-Fi router 10.0.01. Then I have this internet service provider. My internet service provider is Airtel. So 192.168.1.1 is actually the internet router, and in a real life example, it could be a customer edge or a provider edge, or a edge device here. So this is how it travels, and so it travels from my ISP, and then it goes into, and then I have information that how it is traversing from my home network, and then it traverses to certain other network, and again it traverses for to Airtel network for some more time before it goes and enters into Microsoft Pune Azure data center. So now you see I have the entire hop by of information that how I'm accessing this application. So this is one of the beauty where you have end-to-end visibility about the hops and your networks which are coming in between. So let's dive into the first example. Again, when you go in, you can see your hops. And again you see the same diagram which I have showed you earlier, that how I am reaching this data center network. This monitoring point sitting over here. How many hops are coming in between? Whom that hops belongs to. Some of them are provided by ISP. Some of them, in the unknown network, which I am not able to read it, and then some of them are actually part of Microsoft Azure data center network. Here I have all the events which are occurring, how many violations are happening, the network changes, route changes, ISP changes, things like that. Again, this is my home network, so I may not have a very sophisticated demo, but I think you get an idea, how it shows. The second thing it will tell me is how much is actually the capacity, right? So I'm connecting from here to here. So it talks about estimated provisioning capacity, how much I'm utilizing, how much is available from source to destination, destination to source. The
Nagash, I afraid we lost your voice.
Yeah, same here.
Yes. It seems that the audio disconnected.
Hey guys, I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes,
Yes.
we do now. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Can you help me? Where did I lose you? I mean, at what part?
It was about the network connection.
Yeah. During the
Okay.
demo. Yeah.
Okay. During the demo, is it? Okay. Let me again start sharing my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So let me repeat that again. Let me repeat that again. So what I was showing you guys is maybe I clicked something somewhere because of that. I'm not very used to with WebEx, but let me start over again with my demo. I think let's do that. So what I have here is I have two monitoring points. One is my I think there's something. So one is my personal laptop, one is my office laptop, which through which I'm working in. So as you can see, it shows me the location from where I'm logged in. It shows me, the monitoring point type and things like that. And what I have done is, I have pointed to a destination, which is actually in Pune Azure data center, and then I have pointed some applications. So when I am doing a demo, I want you to keep this in mind. So I'm a user which is sitting over here, and I could be accessing something which is in data center network. I could be accessing something in the SaaS network, and then I can also show you that how you can get visibility on what I am doing in my laptop. Um, so with that, I showed you the first example that, in this case, I am actually accessing something which is in my data center network, and assume it's a Pune data center. So I can see the number of hops and number of networks which are coming in between, and the amount of hops it takes to reach that destination. I can see what is the capacity, how much is the network in terms of how much is provisioned, how much it is, uh, you know, um, uh, it is actually being utilized and things like that. And then it tells about the data loss which is happening. So maybe um, there is some issue with the network, but again it's well into permissible limit, because you see the threshold is around 2%, so it's below 2%. So I can see some data jitter which is still acceptable. There is some latency, again depends upon your acceptable value of latency, voice loss, voice jitter, and then of course the MOS value, which is important for understanding the voice networks, some of the metric which people do use to report into. So this is how this tool will give you visibility, and tell you about source to destination, and then how the entire network metric. Now, if anything goes wrong, this tool runs a diagnostic automatically. So you can see this one, which was done sometime yesterday, and tells me about data loss in my network. So this, you see 192.168. It's actually the Airtel router. So it seems the data loss was there, and then at some point of time there was data loss in the Azure network as well. So now the NOC teams have visibility that look where the issue is. And since this seems to be my network, I will be focusing on that first. And then I can also pick up a phone and call in Microsoft, like, look, it seems like you had some issue in your network as well, right? So this is how network teams get visibility into these things. And it can, within your data center network, if you have applications residing over there, you can have monitoring points sitting on either of the source and destinations, and you can see have visibility over there. The next one is application, right? So you have, and in this case, I have, again, as I told you, it's a scaled down version. But I encourage you to give these kind of demos to your customer, because it's about explaining the technology rather than going into the bigger jargons of SD-WAN and things like that. So here I have used a very simple example, so we have Teams and WebEx and all those things, and all. Now we are assuming there's an issue in my network, and that's why I got disconnected. But it could be issue where I may have done something, and that's why I got disconnected. So you see, it tells about the application response time. So this is how the application has been responding, the retransmissions, downloads, and things like that. You can further break down this and then see, what is the response each of these things, and based on that, I can go back to my application team. Look, you have response time beyond acceptable limits, and that's why user is complaining it's not my network, right? And then again, this is the basic one. You can write your own Selenium scripts. You can probably you mimic your own kind of thing. So for example, if it's retail or something, you can actually write a script that user logs in, checks out, and makes payment and things like that. So you can do a lot of stuff here and check a response time for each of those things. And it will tell you how much, because AppNeta will run the scripts continuously and tell you where the issue is. Now this is for the application. I mean, this is where if you want to put the blame back on application, right? Look, this is not us, this is you, because the response time is more. But now assume, if this was not the case, then the network team would want to know, like, where is the issue is, right? And they want to first understand that how I am traversing the network, right? And this is where I will come in as a NOC engineer, get information into all the hops, where how I'm traversing. Can get into all those other metrics, how much was data loss, how much was, latency and round trip time and things like that. And then again, if there is something wrong, this tool again runs a diagnostic. I don't see a diagnostic report right now, but it seems like, this is there. So the diagnostic did not complete in this case for some reason, but I have shown in the previous example that how this will look like, right? So we have covered two examples. One is what if user is accessing an application which is in your data center network, and an application which is sitting in SaaS. In both the cases, we have seen the NOC has visibility and it can gain access to all the network elements participating in this one, and where the issue could potentially be, and focus your energy on that one. Now, what if, issue is not either application and not even, the network as well? In that case, AppNeta also gives you host information, right? And in that case, you see, I have this wireless information. My wireless quality seems to be good. Speed is also, it seems to be good. It is bit shattering, but it's still good. My connection is strong and things like that. So I'm on a good Wi-Fi network. But assume, if you had a user which is in not so good network, how powerful this tool is to actually tell, your engineer or your executive is actually on a very poor Wi-Fi network. Go fix that, and then blame us for that. And at times it could be also laptop issues, or the machine issues as well, right? So how much is utilization, how much is the CPU and memory, and you can actually go here and see what's actually happening on my laptop, right? So which is consuming more CPU, which is consuming more memory, and right now it's all okay. But assume a semantic agent is actually running some scan, downloading something, or some app is actually utilizing more CPU and memory. You would come to know from here, just sitting remotely from your NOC screens, right? And then you can go back and tell your executive or engineer, look, there's something wrong with your laptop, nothing with the network or nothing with the application. And that's where uh, this is where it gives more and more visibility to your NOC engineers, to the networks team, to troubleshoot. And again, whatever I have showed you, these are all practical examples. I have showed you a very simple scale down demo of this one. But now if you integrate this with a larger technology like SD-WAN and your WAN networks and all those things, you can have visibility, like how it will look like. And again, AppNeta integrates into its mothership, which is NetOps. So all the alarms would come into NetOps. So this is my alarm console. You can see alarms coming in. So in this case, this is the network path. it shows there was some threshold violation. I can go in again in NetOps, everything is clickable, right? I can go in, I can further view details about, what is this network path about, how many alarms I had, and, other information. This is a network path, so other things may not come. Then I can look at the utilization information about this path, what is in and out. And again, I may not have all the information, but just to give you an idea that how this integrates with the larger NetOps, use cases. And then, all the dashboards, all the information is available. And you can also launch in context to app NetOps to go into certain information. So this is how, a very quick and brief demo and explanation that how with NetOps plus AppNeta you gain end-to-end visibility. And whether you have an issue with an application in your data center network, whether you have an issue with application which is in a SaaS like Teams and other things, or if you have user issues which you don't have visibility, how this tool actually empowers the network team to go to that level, that what kind of Wi-Fi network I am using, what kind of things are going on my laptop. And it's so much time saving. Imagine in one of your customer scenario, if you are doing this and explaining to see, this is so much of time saved, and time saved is time gained to do something else more productive, right? So with that, I think I am done within my stable time. So I'll pause here and see if I have any questions. I'm just trying to see how do I access the chat. Okay,
Yeah, we
okay.
have received one question here. What are the prerequisite like ICMP support on all of the hubs?
Right. Okay. So this tool actually works on couple of technologies. Let me. So if you want to get, if you want to get a dual end monitoring, it uses UDP. Actually, let me actually go back here. So it uses UDP. That's where it sends packet back and forth between the monitoring points. And what you see here, it's using UDP. In case of single-ended monitoring point where you're only sending from source to destination, it uses ICMP. So prerequisite is you have to open those ports. So you can see in this example, right? I'm connected to VPN network, and actually Broadcom VPN network is not allowing UDP ports inside, and that's why you see I'm having a connectivity loss issues because it cannot come back. The packet goes out, but it cannot come back. So it uses UDP for dual end monitoring. It uses TCP. It uses ICMP, and now we have TCP also introduced in the latest version, so you can use either of them. UDP do require opening of ports. ICMP will not require anything, and TCP will not require anything. So that's the three main technologies which we use when we are doing this. And if I'm just having some troubles in navigating my screens, but actually here you will see. Yeah, here you will see, if you're adding a monitoring policy, then you will see all types of options here, and you can configure all those things, like you want TCP, UDP, ICMP, dual ended, and things like that, and you can also configure your own thresholds and things like that. Can we integrate AppNeta with third-party network monitoring tools? Answer is yes. I mean, if I have to answer that in a short version, answer is yes. Again, just like NetOps, we do have, very open. Our tools are very open, so you can actually go and expose the information through APIs and all those things. And that's how it can be done. So answer is yes, you can integrate with other tools as well, and you can feed in the information. But our recommendation is to talk about the end-to-end value of NetOps plus app data, and that's how the bigger win is. The requirement of physical appliances would be come into picture if you have data center. So let's say if a customer is not cloud, right, and you have all the application setting in your data center, then we do have certain types of appliances which we would like to ship, and it depends again the number of users, number of application, and things like that. And then we have appliances for branch offices. So if you have like 100 employees, 200 employees, then we have certain recommendation for that. Again, the appliances come in the form of connected to the network or wireless and things like that. And then we do have a lot of software applications also, like the container-based applications, the VMware-based applications, and which can go and sit in front end of your data center, and then it can do that. So it comes. So whenever there is a scale where you have more applications, more users, hardware appliance is always recommended. Whenever you have something small, less than 15 applications, 10 applications, and less number of users, you do have option of software monitoring points like VMware container and things like that. Okay. Can we cover end-to-end visibility through software agents? Yes, absolutely. So what you saw here, it's all through software. I don't have any hardware appliances in my this thing, right? And laptop is something which will come into picture if you have a very small number of employees who are working remote, or working in a certain office where you do not have an ability to install appliance, right? But otherwise, if you have a small office where you have an ability to deploy appliance is always recommended. But otherwise, laptop will also do the job. So that's there. And then again, everything works with the software appliances as well. The laptop monitoring point only comes on Windows. The other options are VMware monitoring points. It's like a VM appliance which you have to stand it up in your vSphere network. And another one is the container monitoring point. Again, it requires the Kubernetes and some things like that. So I think documentation will tell you more, but we do not have a Linux monitoring point yet. Yes, so we don't have Linux. We have Windows. We have VM appliance, VM in a software appliance, and then we have container-based monitoring points. The container-based monitoring points can also be installed on your routers like Cisco and other things as well. So you can go to that level. Many customers are monitoring tool in those environments. What unique gaps that Apple fills so that they choose that. So a lot of network monitoring tools which are deployed in the customer network are the traditional tools, right? They are mostly based on SNMP. They cannot go outside your data center network, right? They are only responsible in monitoring their network. So they have access to switches, routers, so they can do that. But the moment the traffic goes out your network, and in my case, you saw my ISP was involved, because cloud network was involved, the traditional tools will not have visibility over there, right? And that's the reason we had to acquire this tool to get that kind of visibility. So traditional tools will nowhere go there and get you that kind of information which I have showed you in AppNeta. And again, this integrates with NetOps, and NetOps plus AppNeta is the answer to our competition, whoever is using traditional monitoring tools, right? Did I miss anything? Any more questions?
I think, yeah, these are the questions we received so far.
Yeah. Again, this is not the end.
I-
Keep these questions coming. I'm happy to answer that later point of time as well. Um, how can customers activate AppNeta? So if you have an existing NetOps customer, which has an active contract, we have enabled free enablement, for them. You have to request that. There is a procedure to request. I do not have in my demo environment, but you have to perform certain steps in NetOps, and the request goes to our product team, and they will enable AppNeta for those customers. And once they do that, you get a welcome email to sign in, create an account, and a SaaS application is provisioned for you. So I can send that procedure steps to you later point of time. But existing customers are now entitled for free AppNeta. We give up to 3 universal licenses free, which is enough, to try any of these use cases which I have mentioned over here. And the advantage which it comes is, because one of the question was, do we support Linux? We don't support Linux, but one of the advantage which is comes is one of the component within NetOps, which is like I think data aggregator, data collector becomes the monitoring points, which actually is installed on Linux. So that becomes a Linux monitoring point for you. So that's the advantage. You don't have to deploy additional monitoring points, and you can have your customer test those scenarios, whatever they are looking for or what they want. You want them to look for. So Rama is asking in the extent of the SMP polling shows interface is healthy, but NetFlow data shows certain spike in traffic. Which data set you trust first, and how you prove whether this is monitoring blind spot? See, DX NetOps is mostly for your internal network, right? So if and any standard operating procedure when it comes to any NOC operations, right? The process which they follow is they actually look into alarms. From alarms they go into performance, and from performance they go into flow. And the reason for that is because flow is the actual source of truth, right? That's where it tells you how the traffic is going in and out. So flow is your single source of truth, where it actually tells you which application is coming, which application is going, which users are doing that. So, Flow is very expensive technology, right? And it's not available to everyone. So so even if you have something which is going wrong, Flow will show you that information. But actually, the way NOC operations operate is they come to alarms to performance, and they actually go to Flow, right? So Flow is a single source of truth, and that's where the real events are happening. But the Flow will not show you blind spots, right? Blind spot is actually the visibility gaps, so which I showed you, if you have some of these real world examples where your users are sitting somewhere and your applications are in cloud or SaaS, then how do you get visibility over there? And this is where AppNeta precisely solves. If there's something within your data center network, NetOps will help you do that. But what's something outside, you cannot do anything, right? You have to call someone, and whom to call, this tool will tell you, whether it's your ISP, whether it's your cloud, or it's your someone else. So that's where the blind spots concepts come into picture. Within the data center network, I think the NetOps team has full control and full visibility what is going on, and they have better control on that. Hey, thanks, Prem. Yeah, I was actually so that yeah. See, fiber to home network. So simple answer is yes. We can do that. But if you imagine, right, the scale, fiber to home network, it's very large. So we are talking about a number of users and all those things, and then we do not have a technology as of today to deploy a monitoring point to the customer edge, right? So if there is something we cannot deploy an edge router in an edge device of that fiber device, right? So we do not have that kind of technology. So it cannot be actually implemented with using NetOps, unless the service provider actually forces someone to install AppNeta monitoring point on the user's laptop, which will never happen. But that's the reason the fiber to home network use case cannot be realized using this technology, because we do not have a technology to deploy a monitoring point on that customer edge, and then no one will going to agree to deploy anything on the laptops or servers over there. So fiber to home will not work with NetOps.
I think that's all the questions we have at the minute, Nagish.
Okay.
So yeah, we can resume the presentation.
So I'm done with my presentation. So the last slides which I had was just the marketing slides, that the next thing which are coming in NetOps is we it is going to be more we are going to use AI and more, intelligence will be coming over there. Cloud native deployments, deployment on VCF and, cloud native technologies. We are going to make it more scalable. And then, user experience is one of the key which we are focusing on. Again, we have been recognized ever since I have been part of this team, we have been recognized by all the analysts out there. Now, people do ask about Gartner. So remember, Gartner has stopped doing Magic Quadrant for NPMD. I think it was almost during COVID time or before COVID. So Gartner does not do NPMD anymore now, and that's the reason we do not have Gartner analyst reports. And that's the reason, we don't have Gartner, but we have GigaOM and Emma analyst reports. And yeah, that's it. That was my last slide, and I hope you find this helpful.
Perfect.
Let's see, there's
I
one
think
more
we have
last.
received we have received a new question. There was a use case with the Fortinet published on the website. Do we have some up-to-date document regarding this?
I'll have to check. So you're talking about SD-WAN support for VNA for Fortinet.
Yeah.
I'll have to check on that and come back to you. To my knowledge, it was work in progress, but yeah, I'll come back to you, Rock, on that one. I do not have answer right now.
Perfect. I think
Here I want to highlight that if you want to try the solution or if you see any opportunity on the field, on the customer side, then you can request a trial. So we can give you a trial license, the installation kit. Optionally, the colleagues can help you, the PCS team can help you in the background. So if you see any opportunity on the field, then feel free to contact with us and we can help you to move forward.
thank you, Ken.
And show the product for your customers.
We can take one more question from Carlos here. Which competitors offer the same AppNeta end user experience monitoring plus DX NetOps infrastructure?
So in terms of unified visibility, I don't think we have any competitor. The main competitor of AppNeta would be Cisco Thousand Eyes, and they often club there with their own monitoring solution. So that's the main competitor of AppNeta over there. If you take AppNeta as a standalone product, then when it comes to unified visibility of NetOps plus AppNeta, then SolarWind claims to be doing a lot of things. But SolarWind do not have the kind of depth which we have. So I think so in terms of unified visibility, it will be SolarWinds, which do something by scratching the surface, not too much in depth like what we do. And then when it comes to standalone AppNeta, it would be Cisco Thousand Eyes. And again, we have in-depth battle card for both of these, and then we do have examples. Where we have done competitive replacement because some of the things Cisco Thousand Eyes does not do, and they have shifted their focus somewhere else, and that's where AppNet is relevant over here. So that's the answer, Carlos, over here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nagesh, for such a great presentation and demo. And thank you all for joining us today. Before you leave, we kindly ask you to complete the short survey you will receive. And as mentioned, the session recording will be shared with you all the soonest. If you would like to explore further or to schedule a demo, please reach us anytime at info@mbcom.com. We appreciate your time, or we look forward to welcome you in our future session. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.